The moon hung low, a pale disk in the inky expanse above Hollow Manor. The manor sprawled before him, a gothic monstrosity of crumbling stone and shadowed glass. Vines, thick as pythons, snaked their way across the facade, their tendrils like skeletal fingers reaching out into the night. It stood on the edge of town, a testament to forgotten sins and whispered tragedies. A chill wind whistled through the crumbling eaves, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and decay. Tom shivered, pulling his jacket tighter around himself. He'd explored countless abandoned buildings, each with their own brand of decay and desolation. But Hollow Manor was different. The air itself felt heavy, burdened with a palpable sense of dread. This place had a story to tell. He could feel it in his bones. He'd heard the tales whispered in hushed tones in the town's dimly lit pubs. Tales of a malevolent entity, a spectral black dog said to roam the grounds, a harbinger of misfortune. He scoffed at the thought. Ghosts and ghouls were for campfire stories, not for seasoned explorers like himself. He'd seen enough real-world horrors to be fazed by mere folklore. Tonight he would separate fact from fiction. A low growl, barely audible, sliced through the stillness. Tom stopped dead in his tracks, heart hammering against his ribs. His gaze darted to the source of the sound, landing on a hulking silhouette by the rusted iron gates. It was a dog, its coat as black as the shadows that clung to the manor walls. It sat unnaturally still, its eyes two glowing embers in the darkness, fixed on him with an unnerving intensity. He tried to rationalize it. A stray, perhaps, drawn here by the same morbid curiosity that had led him. But a primal fear, cold and sharp, began to claw its way up his throat. This was no ordinary animal. The air around it seemed to crackle with an unseen energy. Taking a hesitant step forward, Tom called out, his voice wavering slightly, "Hey boy, easy there." The dog didn't move. It remained a statue of obsidian, its silence somehow more unnerving than any growl. His hand trembled as he reached for his camera, snapping a picture, the flash momentarily illuminating its unnatural stillness. In that brief instant, he thought he saw a flicker of something else in its eyes, something ancient and cruel. "Steel yourself?" he thought, pushing down the growing unease. He'd come too far to turn back now. With a deep breath, he cautiously approached the iron gates, their rusted hinges groaning in protest as he pushed them open. The dog watched his every move, its silence deafening. The scent of mildew and decay intensified as he stepped onto the grounds, the air growing thick with the weight of unseen eyes. He moved through the overgrown gardens, each step echoing in the stillness. The manor loomed before him, its windows like vacant eyes, reflecting the moonlight. The stories, the legends, all felt suffocatingly real now. Still, he pressed on, drawn by a mixture of morbid curiosity and a stubborn refusal to be cowed. Inside, the air hung thick and heavy, filled with the ghosts of whispered conversations and long-forgotten laughter. Cobwebs draped the once grand staircase, and dust lay thick on the floor, undisturbed for decades. As he ventured deeper into the manor, the feeling of being watched intensified. He could hear the soft padding of paws behind him, always a few paces behind, never close enough to see. He reached the grand ballroom, its once polished floor now home to creeping vines and fallen plaster. A chill wind howled through the shattered windows, swirling the dust into miniature tornadoes. And that's when he saw it. Standing in the center of the room, bathed in moonlight, was the black dog. But something was different. It was no longer on all fours. It stood upright, its form shifting, stretching, growing taller, the canine features melting away to reveal a grotesque parody of a man. Its eyes, still glowing with that infernal light, locked onto his, filled with a chilling sentience that sent a jolt of primal terror through him. He stumbled back, fear paralyzing him, as the creature advanced. A scream caught in his throat, a strangled gasp that died unheard in the vast emptiness of the manor. He fumbled for his camera, the click of the shutter echoing in the silence, but the flash revealed nothing but empty space. The creature was gone. He was alone, or so he thought. A low growl, closer now, right behind him, sent shivers down his spine. He didn't need to turn to know what awaited him. The next morning, Tom was gone. The only sign he was ever there was his camera, lying abandoned on the steps of Hollow Manor, and in the distance a black dog sat by the gates, its eyes reflecting the rising sun, its gaze fixed on the horizon, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to wander into its domain. The cycle, it seemed, would continue.